A lot of men overcomplicate dating when the real question is actually pretty simple. Is this woman building a relationship with you, or is she building a relationship around herself? That's the question that decides almost everything. Because when a man is looking for a serious girlfriend or a wife, he can waste months, even years, getting distracted by beauty, chemistry, attention, and all the little emotional highs that come early. Meanwhile, he misses the one thing that matters most. What kind of person is she when the relationship stops being about excitement and starts being about everyday life? I'm Zia, and today I want to talk about one of the fastest ways to understand whether a woman is going to bring peace into your life or slowly turn the whole thing into a headache. There are women who are mostly self centered in relationships, and there are women who are relationship centered. That difference matters more than men think. A self centered woman usually sees the relationship as something that should serve her first. Her comfort, her needs, her moods, her experience, her story, her timing, her happiness. If things feel good for her, she's warm. If things stop feeling perfect for her, she starts pulling away, getting irritated, going cold, or acting like the relationship is suddenly a burden. She may still be affectionate sometimes. She may still say the right things. She may still look sweet on the surface. But underneath it, the relationship often feels one sided. The man is expected to keep the mood right, keep the attention flowing, keep the effort high, keep her entertained, keep her reassured, keep the machine running. And the second he slows down, gets sick, gets stressed, or simply needs support himself, the imbalance becomes obvious. That's when a lot of men finally realize they are not in a partnership, they are in a service arrangement, and once a man sees that clearly, he usually can't unsee it. Now compare that to a relationship centered woman. She does not look at the relationship and ask only, "What am I getting out of this today?" She looks at it more like a shared mission. She cares how you're doing. She notices when you're tired. She pays attention to what makes life easier for both of you. She doesn't just enjoy the good moments. She shows up in the inconvenient ones too. That is a huge difference. Because real relationships are not tested when everything feels fun. They are tested when something goes wrong, when plans change, when someone is sick, when money is tight, when stress is high, when there is no glamour left in the moment and all that's left is character. That's where the real answer shows up. A lot of men keep asking the wrong questions early on. Is she pretty enough? Is she affectionate enough? Is she exciting enough? Is she fun enough to be around? Those questions matter a little. But the better question is this: when life becomes inconvenient, does she get closer or does she disappear? That tells you almost everything. Here's a simple way to think about it. Some women relate to love like it's a spotlight. As long as the light is on them, they're happy. As long as they're being admired, pursued, prioritized, reassured, entertained, they feel good. But once the light has to move somewhere else, they start losing interest fast. Maybe onto your needs, your stress, your recovery, your problem, your family, your bad week. Other women relate to love more like a team. They do not panic the second the attention shifts. They don't become resentful when care has to move in your direction sometimes. They understand that if this is really a relationship, then both people will have moments where they need more and moments where they give more. That's how real partnership works. And honestly, a lot of men do not know how to test for this early enough. They keep looking at chemistry and ignoring patterns. So here is a better test, not a manipulative test, just an honest one. If you got sick tomorrow, what would she do? Would she just say, "Okay, let me know when you feel better," and vanish until you're fun again? Or would she actually show concern? Check on you? Offer help? Show up in some small but real way? That kind of thing matters. Not because a woman needs to become your nurse on day 3, but because it reveals her instinct. Does she lean in when something gets difficult, or does she mentally step back because the relationship is no longer entertaining enough in that moment. That instinct tells the truth. Here's another test. In the relationship, who is always adapting to whom? Are you always fitting into her moods, her time, her chaos, her schedule, her drama, her needs? Or is there some balance? Because a self centered woman often makes the relationship feel like you are always orbiting her. You follow her emotional weather. You adjust to her priorities. You manage her reactions. You work around her world. A relationship centered woman still has her own needs, of course. She's still a person, not a servant. But the energy feels different. There is mutuality. There is effort from both sides. There is that feeling that she is not just asking, "How do I feel today?" She is also asking, "How are we doing?" That's the question a man should listen for. How are we doing? Not just, "How do I feel right now?" That is why some beautiful women become exhausting very fast. A man thinks he found a prize because she is attractive, affectionate, and exciting in the beginning. Then, after enough time, he realizes the whole relationship is built around keeping her satisfied, keeping her calm, keeping her entertained, keeping her emotionally fed. He starts feeling more like a handler than a partner. And that gets old, fast. Meanwhile, a woman who may seem quieter, simpler, or less flashy at first can end up becoming the best thing in his life because her instinct is different. She is not only asking what the relationship can do for her, she is asking what kind of woman she wants to be inside it. That is the woman men should pay attention to. This is also why dating matters so much, because the truth does not always show up in the first week. A lot of self-centered people can act warm in the beginning. Of course they can. The beginning is exciting. Attention is flowing. Emotions are high. Everything is easy when the relationship is still feeding the ego. But over time, the pattern starts showing. How does she act when she doesn't get her way? How does she act when you're busy? How does she act when you need support? How does she act when something is inconvenient for her? How does she act when the day is not all about her feelings? That is where the mask slips. And to be fair, men need to ask themselves the same questions too, because plenty of men are self-centered in relationships. Plenty of men want care without giving it, loyalty without earning it, softness without offering safety, devotion without showing real presence. So this is not about pretending women are the only ones who can wreck a relationship. It's about giving men a simple way to recognize whether the person they're choosing is built for partnership or mostly built for self-interest. That's a big difference. And if a man ignores it, he usually pays for it later. Not always with money, sometimes with stress, sometimes with resentment, sometimes with loneliness inside a relationship that was supposed to fix loneliness. Sometimes with the slow realization that the woman next to him loves what he does for her much more than she loves who he is. That is a hard thing to wake up to. So no, the real question is not whether she's exciting. The real question is whether she knows how to love in a way that includes you, not just herself. Because the best relationships do not feel like one person constantly taking and the other constantly managing. They feel like two people who actually care what life feels like for the other person too. That's the difference. And men who learn to spot that difference early save themselves a lot of pain later.